Hey guys, what's up? This is Matthew. It's me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw It. This time is going to be on Gladiator II. That's right, they made a sequel to Gladiator, which is something that nobody has really been asking for, but it's modern time. They're always making sequels that most people never ask for. But hey, this is directed by Ridley Scott, so hopefully there's hope for this. In this movie, after his home is conquered by the tyrannical emperors who now lead Rome, Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum and must look to his past to find his strength to return the glory of Rome to its people. And this movie stars Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, and Denzel Washington as the antagonist. And when it comes to the first Gladiator, I actually haven't watched it since I first watched it all the way back in 2016. Funny thing, I keep seeing reviews for my review of that movie. I want to go back and look and see why, but I know it's probably an embarrassing video because back then I was really bad at explaining plots and I did not explain why I liked the movie so much. I was all like, yeah, it's good. It's a great movie. Go and watch it. So I almost wanted to do a reaction video of that, but I didn't. And that was probably for the best. But anyways, when it comes to, making sequels to older films that didn't really need sequels, Hollywood just tends to just ignore what people are saying and just tend to make them anyway because, hey, they might make big bucks. But, but there have been a lot of, sequels to really old movies that have come out that have really surprised me, that were still unnecessary, but still relatively enjoyed. I liked Twisters, even though that was more of a reboot. I liked Beetlejuice, and I like this movie too. It doesn't hold a candle to the original by any means necessary, but there is still plenty to love about this movie. I think everybody is terrific, despite the fact that Russell Crowe, of course, didn't return because we know how the first movie ended. But there are times where the movie does show flashbacks to the original, and even the opening does kind of like rehash what happened in the ending of the original movie. And oftentimes it does bring callbacks to that, and a lot of times the battle sequences do feel very familiar to that original film. The Colosseum's the same. And, but yeah, the big difference is that, sometimes it'll kind of feel like a fresh coat of paint just with, other different characters added into the film. But hey, everybody in the movie is terrific. And the fact that Ridley Scott decided to come back to direct this movie is quite impressive given how old he's given, which he's in like his 80s and it's going to be really sad when it gets close to his time, just like with Martin Scorsese. The fact that he's still making movies and the fact that they still know what they're kind of doing. I mean, I thought House of Gucci was good. I thought Napoleon was good, but they're not on the same marks as some of his other great films like The Martian or Alien or Blade Runner. But hey, Ridley Scott, I still think he knows what he does when it comes to directing films like this. It is a very well-directed film, and it's a very nice-looking one, too, despite the fact that there are times where they use creatures that really don't look all that convincing, but I don't think they're ever going to perfect that, like, ever. Then again, there have been films that manage to do it very well, like the modern Planet of the Apes movies, but hey, the creatures are not what's important, it's the human characters, and they're all willing to do what they tend to do in the film, specifically with Paul Mescal. And of course, bringing in, what exactly, he's trying to fight for. And, he plays a powerful role. But of course, the show stealer has to be Denzel Washington. I feel like anything he does, he'll get an Oscar nomination. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets an Oscar nomination for this film because he plays the antagonist very well. I feel like no matter what he does, he's always going to be up for Oscar buzz. Even if you put him in like the worst movie ever, he would still probably get Oscar buzz because he's always a terrific actor no matter what he does. And easily, he makes a really great antagonist, and I really enjoyed his role, and he's easily the show stealer. Throughout this 2-hour and 30-minute roller coaster ride of bloody action and brutal imagery. So yeah, the movie will definitely entertain you for that. Pun intended. Are you not entertained? Because I was when it came to the battle sequences. I feel like they were very well shot, despite some of them being very familiar to the original film. But most of the time, if that's mostly what you came to see, then it's not going to disappoint you. It is very violent, very brutal. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. I saw it in IMAX. It was truly a treat to see. The movie doesn't really give a whole lot in terms to why exactly Gladiator really needs a sequel, because it really didn't. I thought it concluded very well, and it just shows that, it didn't really need to become a franchise, but the fact that it did, I just kind of wish, it had more purpose, because Oftentimes, it does feel like it's most of the same, just with different characters. But hey, I liked these new characters, and while the storyline is fine, just relatively similar, I do feel like it's a very entertaining film, despite the fact that it doesn't really have a whole lot of new iconic stuff that the first film had. Like, bottom line is, I still had a blast with this movie. Is it necessary? Definitely not. Is it a good sequel? Well, yeah, I definitely think it's a good one. I had fun watching it. I don't think it's going to be as iconic as the original, but with Ridley Scott's very solid direction and the new introduction of a really good cast of new characters that I could definitely root for, even the antagonist as well. And I just had myself all around a solid enough time that definitely kept me from being bored. And by the end of the battle, I was all like, would I recommend this over Wicked? Probably not, because that's saying something, because I really loved Wicked. But hey, this is a good movie to watch as well during Wicked. So yeah, it's still a good double feature movie. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. But yeah, it might get some Oscar buzz. I know it's not going to win Best Picture, just like the first movie did, because there are things that don't feel as good as the first film. But hey, I've explained enough. I still recommend giving it a watch. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.